It is not a trip Julie Ware takes very often.
Unbelievable.
Visits to this place are still too painful.
I don't have words anymore.
She is fighting to find the right words these days, speaking out for the first time about her personal tragedy and what she believes is a death trap lurking just off our highways and interstates.
And so we slid along the front of these palm trees and then came this way.
It was at this site, this stretch of the Turnpike, just 1 mile south of the Lake Worth exit. The date? November 8th, 2002. Night had just fallen. Julie and her 7-year-old son Alex were on their way home.
My son said to me, "Mommy, that's such a pretty one. Maybe Daddy can buy it and we can go on trips one day."
Alex was talking about an RV that had pulled up alongside them on the Turnpike. They had no idea the driver of that vehicle would leave them fighting for their lives.
And I was on the outside lane. And all of a sudden, he was maybe 4 feet from my vehicle, and he came right into my lane. So I swerved. When I turned back out, he was still coming. And he came over, kept on going. So I had to swerve real quickly back over onto the grass at that point. And it's when the back wheel of my car got caught in, the humps that they have on the shoulder.
Julie could not recover. Her SUV flipped and rolled several times, knocking down a light fence before plunging into a nearby canal.
This is FHP. We have a vehicle that rolled over into a canal.
Do you know if anybody's still in the vehicle?
They hadn't seen anybody get out of the vehicle, so we think it is occupied.
Underneath the murky water, now glowing from her headlights, Julie was in a race against time.
It was dark, so when the vehicle fell in the water, it was pitch black. I mean, I couldn't even see my hand in front of me. It's just a reaction, plop, that my belt came out, and I reached to grab his, and I could not unbuckle it.
In those furious minutes below the water, Julie mangled her hand from tugging on her son's seatbelt.
My hand was totally mangled, trying to tear it off.
What was happening that you couldn't get his seatbelt off?
The actual latch for the seatbelt of the vehicle would not release. And I'm dragging him to get some air. There's an air pocket. So I was trying to pull him out to get air. And I couldn't.
Julie did manage to get a single breath herself, but her small son was still submerged, strapped into his seat.
I figured, okay, so I can't get him out, but I'll stay with him. And I hugged him. And I know when he went because I could feel it. He was grabbing onto this, like that. And when he went in my arms, I felt it just release.
Even fast-acting rescue crews could not save Alex.
The last thing I remember of my son alive is when I'm swerving, when the wheel got caught and started flipping. I trying to balance the car and looking at my son, and his face is just total shock, like, "Mommy, what's going on?" And that's the last that I saw of his face alive. This total shock look, and I won't forget it. And it hurts because I miss my son. And I love you, Alex.
Some say this accident and Alex's death never would have happened if this stretch of Florida's Turnpike simply had a guardrail in place. A metal barrier that would have stopped Julie Ware's SUV right here before it continued on into the canal. So why wasn't there one in place? Contact 5 thought for sure there would be some kind of law that dictates guardrail placement along Florida's busiest traveled roadways. So we searched. Turns out there is no Florida statute, only guidelines from Florida's Department of Transportation. Recommendations from engineers that when a canal runs parallel to the roadway, like so many throughout the state, there are at least 60 feet between the edge of the traveling road and the beginning of the canal. Anything less, by FDOT's own standards, should have a guardrail. So we went back to the scene of Julie's accident. State Representative Irv Schlossberg met us roadside.
Right here, it's 50 feet.
Then we measured and added the shoulder, the total span of grass from road to canal, 60 feet and 6 inches. That means by state standards, this area does not get a guardrail.
We need a guardrail, and even if it's a foot off, we need a guardrail here.
Schlossberg has worked with FDOT on all kinds of highway projects ever since he lost his own daughter 9 years ago in a car crash.
You know, no one else should have to go through what myself and my family have gone through in our lives.
Schlossberg wants to see more room between canals and roadways, and when that's not possible, more guardrails. But FDOT engineers choose 60 feet and insist that's their standard because it's supposed to be enough room for a driver to correct their car should they run off the road. In Julie Ware's case, though, she left the pavement here and traveled like this at a diagonal, a much greater distance than 60 feet. All this room still was not enough space for Julie Ware to correct her car before she hit the water. Do you think 60 feet is enough?
No, I'd like to see 100 feet.
Contact 5 caught up with Florida Turnpike COO Chris Warren.
Some people say that it should be 100 feet.
I don't know where that's coming from. That's the first I've ever heard that. The only background knowledge that I have is what the department standard is, and that we try to meet those criteria.
Warren says their goal is to build forgiving highways. He argues that too many guardrails would take away all opportunity for drivers who run off the road and do manage to correct their cars.
We've got statistics of vehicles that get off the road and impact. What we don't have statistics are the many numbers of other vehicles that get off the road and correct because we don't know when they happen. And that is a significant number of vehicles that correct and we never hear about.
It's been 2 years since your accident, and there's still no guardrail.
There is still no guardrail, no.
When you drive by that area and you see your accident site and you see no guardrail still there today,
I get angry.
You believe that if there had been a guardrail there, your son would still be alive?
Yes, and even the police said it. It's not that my vehicle went dashing into the canal. It just rolled and there was nothing to stop it. Why aren't we doing more?
It is the memory of her son, a child who loved his family, Scooby-Doo, and all little boy things that keeps her going.
And I've learned to live with the pain because you won't get over the pain ever. I'm at peace with my memories. And it hurts because I miss my son. The only thing I can say is, you know, he was a good kid. And I miss him so much.